Hello. Planet Earth.
Hi, honey.
Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Preston L. Young.
And I'm Twos.
And we're wishing you warm salutations and congratulations as always. You've made your way to the Buffyngton Post.
Kudos.
Today we're going to be continuing our History Buff coverage with Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 8, Issue number 10. It is Anywhere But Here.
Dum, dum, dum.
And Anywhere But Here is, again, our 10th issue of Season 8. And it's actually, we've got a new artist, well, not a new artist, but a different artist from what we usually have. Georges Genti. He's like, he has that more cartoony kind of style, whatever. And it's Cliff Richards, I believe. No. Yeah, Cliff Richards. Yeah. Hello.
I'm back.
So, in Anywhere But Here, Willow and Buffy are trying to get answers about Twilight. And so, Amanda, let's put on our frickin' Fred glasses already. Because we kind of forgot some stuff about Twilight. So, before we get into this...
Previously on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
So we did No Future For You, and we went over it a lot. And we actually did like 3 recordings for that, if you'll remember. It was...
Fourth time's the charm always wins.
Exactly. And so we didn't really talk about the big thing. Like, we buried the lead on Twilight. Because, like...
Yeah. Okay, so... Do you mind? Can I go?
Go.
All right,
Take it away,
okay.
Twos.
So the one big thing that we forgot in our last issue was we did not talk about Twilight and how we got to meet him for the first time, and I think that's
Yeah, it was like a really
exciting.
big reveal, and we just kind of like glossed over it to get to the Faith and Giles relationship stuff.
And we really didn't talk about the fact that we got to see him and his whole master plan and what we thought was a really big deal. But anyway, so it was a really big deal, and we got to see him, and
we're still assuming that it's a him.
We're still assuming that it's a him because, I mean, just based on his physical characteristics, I'm going to say male. All right?
Male. They are humanoid. For sure. They're definitely humanoid.
Humanoid.
And it looks to be male-ish. Like the male form of being humanoid.
It appears to be a male human. Sorry. Disappoint everybody. Doesn't look like a demon to me yet.
You know who else didn't look like a demon? Angel. So you'll never know. Like, that's the thing. Like, just because they don't look like a demon doesn't mean they're not a demon.
He's this mystery trapped inside an enigma, trapped inside a man's body.
Mind you, he's a man, so...
Anyway, so we get to see him, and
the thing is, Twilight doesn't make any fucking sense, because Twilight's like, oh... Like, I'm...
They were building this whole story just to building up to getting them all separated, but no one died.
Right, like, if you really wanted to take Giles and Faith out of the picture, just take them out of the fucking picture. Just, like, kill them. That's how they stay out of the picture. Because we know that people in the Buffyverse, they, like, mend fences. Buffy and Faith already done come back together. And that was after she, you know, had murdered just regular people, not even evil slayers who were trying to kill her. You know what I'm saying? So, like, there's always an opportunity to, like, come back together and get the group back together, so why not just kill Giles and Faith? That's why Twilight doesn't make any fucking sense.
What are you doing?
Apparently he's got bigger plans for them, and being separated is a lot less worrisome than them being dead. So, we'll stick with that.
Sure.
Anyway.
Sure, Twilight makes none of the sense, but we're going with it for now.
We're going to go with the flow.
And we talked about how I have this theory about the reason that Twilight doesn't make any sense is because Twilight is Twilight, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Twilight, like this Twilight is like Twilight, like your Twilight, like.
Okay, we're not going to talk about this. This is for another
This
time.
is a very big discussion that we are going to have. So in the next issue, we've got to cover A Beautiful Sunset.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get to spend, spoiler alert, a little bit more time with Twilight. And after we do A Beautiful Sunset, we're going to use that episode to talk about Twilight, okay? I want you to do your Wikipedia research and all that good stuff. The Twilight he is
referring to is the series and critically acclaimed movies. And he's saying and stating that they are knockoffs of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I'm disagreeing.
I'm not saying that they are knockoffs. I'm saying, we'll talk about it, but what I'm saying is Buffy basically gave them a template to follow,
Oh, okay.
And they used that template and they made it nasty and dirty and ridiculous.
Trash.
And Buffy technically paved the way for it, which makes us feel bad. But we also feel even worse that y'all think Twilight is this great grand thing. Okay?
So sorry that it was something really enjoyable.
I'm just saying. So, yeah, that's pretty much the only thing that we really glossed over, except for the Hellmouths and just like
There's more than one.
Yeah, there's like more than one. Like the reason that Faith is in Cleveland is because like it's on a Hellmouth, and like we'll talk a lot more about Hellmouths and what they are when we get toward the end of season 8. And so, like the Hellmouth in Cleveland is this big another enigma wrapped in a question mark, disguised as a city. Like the fact that Cleveland has its own Hellmouth. When we get to the root of the mythology of the Hellmouth, it doesn't make a shit ton of sense. So, we'll talk about that too. But that'll come later when we're not spoiling things for you. Spoiler alert! So, anyway, you ready for Anywhere But Here?
Yes, I'm ready for Anywhere But Here.
Alright, let's get Anywhere But Here.
Here we go.
Shall we begin?
It's called hysteria, the world premiere. We dare ya to watch hysteria. Prepare ya for hilaria. They love it in Bulgaria, hysteria. We declare ya, be aware ya. The laughter's gonna bury ya, we swear ya. It's hysteria. Get set for hysteria.
Alright, so in Anywhere But Here, which again is season 8, issue number 10, Buffy and Willow find out the truth about a lot of things, and the audience finds out a lot of truth about a lot of things. We find out that Dawn is not a giant because she slept with Kenny, but rather because she slept with his roommate.
Dum dum dum.
Dun dun dun. And she tells this to Xander. We find out that the reason Willow hasn't brought Kennedy around all the time is because she feels guilty about Tara's death and she doesn't want to choose Buffy over her girlfriend ever again. Dun dun dun. And we find out that the reason Buffy is able to afford this whole Slayer army and Scottish castle is because she stole a bunch of money and jewels and such from a Swiss bank, but she doesn't care because it's all insured. Dun dun dun!
So there's just a bunch of bad juju going all around on each side.
And on top of that, when we get our answers about Twilight and what it is and what it does and if it's bigger than a bread box, we find out that Twilight is not a person per se, but it is literally the death of magic.
Dun dun dun.
Done.
And that's a wrap.
Yeah, and so let's get into the nitty gritty of it, talk about what we're seeing, what it all means. Twos, where are we? Where do we start the issue?
Okay, so we started with this game that they played in season 2, episode 1.
It was not episode 1. It was like, I don't know. This is the one.
It was in season 2.
Yeah.
And it was a game called Anywhere But Here. And in the game, they just played out scenes and places and people that were not there where they were. And anyway, Buffy's out on this beach minding her own business, and someone offers to come and lotion her up, and it's Daniel Craig, this beautiful British actor. And Willow's like, that's not even really that good. And Buffy's saying, I'm sorry, I can't concentrate because we're flying in the air. Oh, I'm sorry, we're not flying, you're flying, and I'm hanging on.
Yeah, and so, we got, the Daniel Craigness of it all, and then Willow, or Buffy holding on to Willow for dear life.
So they're flying to find this demon right now.
Yeah, Cephrillian. They're hoping to get answers from this big, he's not the head honcho demon, but he's,
he knows
real
things.
big on the inside of demon
things.
hood. So they're trying to see if he can give them some info on what this Twilight situation actually is.
Cutscene. Go to Xander, and he's with Willow. He got some.
No, he's with Dawn.
Oh, he's with Dawn. I'm sorry. He's with Dawn, and he got some Wiccans to enlarge in her stuff. Make it Dawn size because she's a giant, and now everything's giant size, aka 2 size.
Okay.
Exactly. And anyway, she's getting so happy about that, and she's looking for her boots in this bag, and Xander's many praises for hooking her up. So we jump to Willow, and her Anywhere But Here is with Tina Fey up in this cold mountain, and there's enough hot chocolate for just the two of them, and it's all like romantic, and we can't make the trek down until the night, till tomorrow, and you know, we got to keep ourselves warm somehow.
Ooh, my. Tina Fey. Oh, Willow.
Yeah. Anyway, Buffy's like, well, that's no fun. What about Kennedy, your girlfriend? And she's like, we can't use significant others. It's all about fantasy.
Just listen.
And Buffy was pretty much just jumped into yet again the question that's been lingering around for the past few issues. Where's Kennedy?
Where's Kennedy?
Where is she?
Donde es Kennedy?
And she pretty much just doesn't answer her.
She's like, oh, girl, we're here.
Falling on deaf ears. So they show up, pull up at the shed, and there's somebody sitting outside. And so this demon, he's like a demon that lives in between dimensions. So he needs a minder, is what they're called, to sit there and mind the dimension and make sure nothing too drastic happens or goes out of hand.
Yeah, it's like this demon, because he's kind of interdimensional and whatnot, like whenever he's in reality, he's not really in reality. He's kind of like bringing other realities with him, and that's like not great for our reality. And so this minder character basically just keeps those energies in check so that, you know, reality keeps happening.
Enter all ye who seek knowledge.
Anyway, they talk to her for a second, and sure enough, they're exactly where they need to be. And she goes inside, and they're talking about who would volunteer to mind this. And she's like, you don't volunteer, you get chosen.
Dun dun dun, sound familiar?
So they go down this long winding staircase that seems to never end in this tiny little shed because it's bigger on the inside.
Location.
And they start walking down, and they start talking about playing the game.
Well, don't they start talking about Faith? Oh yeah, they like joke about Faith. They talk about Twilight, and the demons and the humans are after them. The whole Twilight thing. It's like, what's going on? Like, what is Twilight, girl?
You all sit tight for a minute.
So we jump back to Xander, and Dawn's all in her clothes, and Xander thinks he's in some of her frilly undergarments because he fell in her suitcase, and he's like, oh, don't want to be touching your personal stuff. And lo and behold, there's a picture of Kenny inside the luggage.
Yeah, Kenny, the college boyfriend that she supposedly slept with.
Yeah,
and
and turned her into the thrice-wise. Or it was a thrice-wise demon.
Now to your favorite part.
Okay, this is my favorite part. Alright, so it's
So it's Buffy, and she's in this like Victorian style
dress.
Cotillion dress, and she's with two men who look very out of place for what she's dressed as.
So it's another fantasy game, and I'm just gonna read it to you because it's my favorite part. It's like, the Baron suspects us. We need a distraction. Little woman, Christian Bale, you and I will waltz obscenely close in plain view, while Rain of Fire, Christian Bale, saddles the horses. It's a hard ride across the moors, and then we're just one hot air balloon ride from freedom.
I love it. It's so... it's very creative.
It's really awesome, and it's just a really great scene, I think, that they made to just get a good laugh.
You like me.
And Willow's like, now we're getting somewhere. And then Buffy once again brings up the whole Kennedy issue.
Oh yeah, Buffy's like, you know, I like Kennedy. Like, it's cool if you bring her around. And Willow's like, dude, what? Why are we talking about this?
Are you embarrassed?
Yeah, Buffy's like, are you embarrassed of me? Like, is there something about me that's like stanky or whatever? And then of course they get attacked by this demon that they've been looking for.
Right in between their conversation, they're like, they got it.
Yeah, they're like, girl.
So it shows up, and it's got 4 faces and a big ass mouth. It looks like a giant,
like shrimp.
Yeah, a giant shrimp with wings, and
but with like a crazy demon catfish. Not even catfish, because catfish don't really have teeth like that. It looks.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like an anglerfish's mouth.
Yes, it does.
I guess it kind of does look like an anglerfish, but like the little thing at the
Instead
tail is actually
light
a
being
light.
at the anglerfish, it would be where the face is.
Yeah, that's cool. I love the design of Cephrillian because and we'll get to it, but anyway.
So they're like, hey, we came here to ask for your help.
Oh, well, the thing is, as soon as they crash, Willow kind of lands on Buffy, and she's like, hey, are you okay? And Buffy's like, yeah, I'm fine, but she's like, I'm fine, and so she's trying to be like, oh, everything's okay, but she's literally lying to her, and that's what this whole issue is about. It's about getting these lies away and like the truth out in the open. Like,
Because they're just trying to make each other comfortable right now.
exactly, they're just trying to make each other comfortable. They're just trying to amuse each other. They want to be anywhere but here, right?
Yeah.
And so now they have to actually be here. And it's like, girl, where is here? But yeah, I think that's really neat. I think that's the smartest part about this whole thing. Yeah, so Cephalian's like, why are you here?
Yeah.
Why are you here? What you trying to do?
Yeah.
And they're like, we need your help. And
We need to find out what this Twilight guy is. And they're like, oh, you know exactly who it is. Twilight, your fear is obnoxiously sweet. And they're like, do you know what it means? And he's like, yeah, it's the death of magic. Womp womp.
yeah, and he says that the death of magic is Buffy's life's goal achieved, which is very interesting.
Well, she's always thought about what it would be if her life never had magic in it. She never would be the Slayer, and she wouldn't be in the situation she's in. So
Yeah.
that is one of Buffy's top wonders, I believe.
That's a really deep question.
Yeah, and it's like, as much as Buffy wants to live in this world without magic, like, magic-free, like, not responsibility-free, but, like, you know,
Well,
mystical responsibility, you know,
Yeah,
free.
because
Destiny and all that
yeah,
free.
I mean, she could do what she wanted. She could be in college. She could have a real life and be a real sister and mentor to her sister.
Yeah, and she could, like, maybe, you know, have sex with somebody who wasn't a fucking demon.
Yeah, and she wouldn't have to worry about demons coming into her life when she's just trying to have a life.
Yeah, and she wouldn't, like... A lot of things wouldn't, but the thing that's really interesting, and the reason that Willow looks so forlorn here, this is one of my favorite images of Willow, is because when he says the death of magic, you see what it means for Willow.
Yeah.
Willow, like, so much of her very self and the way that she identifies is, like, all wrapped up in this magic. So, like, if Twilight is the death of magic, it is not just a threat to magic, it is therefore a threat to Willow. Because
In her being, because she is magic.
because Willow is basically like a character that embodies magic, you know, like like you're saying, she is magic.
Yeah.
And even though Buffy's powers come from magic, Willow's power, like her ability to enforce her will on the earth, comes from magic. And so when you think about Willow, you can't take magic out of the equation when it comes to her, because it's so intrinsically a part of her character. And so the death of magic means the death of some kind of part of Willow, which is really interesting, and it's something you need to keep in mind, because this whole we're getting rid of magic thing is not going away anytime soon.
Getting pretty real.
Yeah.
We jump back to Dawn, and she's looking at the picture, and she's crying, and she's talking about how she didn't sleep with Kenny. She slept with his roommate.
Oh, yeah. So we know that, like, sleeping with a thrice-wise causes some kind of, like, curse to come upon you. But apparently, if you just know a thrice-wise and he doesn't want you to have sex, then, like, some curse can come upon you.
Yep, pretty much. So we jump back to the demon, and he's showing them how they're lying. They just lie to each other, and...
Yeah, he talks about, like... Because, like, he has this, like, screen of 4 faces, and they have, like, different ranges of emotion, and he's saying, you can see all of my faces here, like, I show them to you. But you people, all you do is lie to each other. You try and keep reality away from one another. I'm upfront about the fact that I have several different realities going on. That's why you came to me. And so, basically, they came for the truth, and what he's going to give them is each other's truth. And so he opens up all of his faces and exposes them to each other's truths.
Everything from start to finish.
So the truth is that all the money that they got came from this Swiss bank that she robbed. And Willow was talking about how because she robbed this bank, the military saw what a danger she and the Slayers were, because it wasn't just her, it was a bunch of Slayers too, saw what the Slayers were and what a threat they could be, and this is why they have them upon their heads. So Willow's getting really pissed off about this.
Yeah, and the thing is, like,
Buffy looks at it
she's
like
right.
a victimless crime, though.
Well, yeah.
Because she considers it insured.
And they found some, like, Nazi memorabilia, and they, like, turned it over to the feds or what the heck ever, but Willow's right. If the government found out that Buffy was just going around leading a bunch of girls to fight off demons and vampires and the forces of fucking darkness and all the extra, they probably would have kept an eye on them, but basically left them alone. But the fact that they are not just going after demons, they are violating human laws and messing with the real human world and making real human crimes, it got their attention. And that's why they're looking at her like she's a terrorist. Like, It's not cool to go around stealing money from banks, Buffy.
Just because you can.
Didn't we just talk about how it's not cool for you to go around, like, murdering teenage girls to feed them to your monster boyfriend?
That's not okay.
It's not how we play Slayer. It's super not.
No, you do the right way, you do. But what she did here, she thought she was doing best for her family and team. And what did she do?
She endangered all of them.
Yeah, she hurt herself.
And all of these girls that she's supposed to be protecting, she's now put them in danger because of these decisions. And it's all fucked up. And what's even more fucked up is we find that while Willow was off on the astral plane or whatever, she's all like sexily entwined with this super sexy snake lady.
Yeah, super serpent, whatever.
And basically we see that while they're keeping everything from each other, Willow is telling all of her secrets to this sexy snake lady on the astral plane. So it's a little like, well, okay, so you're spilling all your secrets to this demon bitch, but you can't tell us what's going on with Kennedy?
I wanna know that.
And it's really funny that you say spilling secrets, because in the next pane, all we do is talk about how Dawn's telling her secret to Xander and how she had sex with, what's his name?
I think, Kevin? No.
No. Nick. His roommate Nick. And he was funny and cute and blah, 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 blah. And she called herself a slut. And Xander was like, don't you do that. And trying to cheer her up. And you're just cliche, because he was a bad guy who had a leather jacket and an attitude.
And he was in a band.
Yeah, and he was so cool.
And basically, we find that Xander starts to tell the story of Parker because she thinks that Buffy's going to be so ashamed of her. And he's like, girl, Buffy went out and boned the first dude she met in college too, so don't even feel bad.
Yeah, and just tries to relate. And she felt really bad about hiding all this from Willow. And Xander just said, I'm wieldy. I'm especially wieldy.
So, Buffy and Willow, they've been kind of like going in between all these different things going on with each other. And then we see them in this space that neither of them really recognizes, and there's like this shattered red egg looking thing that's just kind of floating over this like altar type situation.
And this other reality that they get to look into.
Yeah, and so Robin, the minder, she shows up, like a projection of her from the outside shows up in there, and she's like, oh, I didn't think that he was going to show you this. And they're like, where are we? And she's like, oh, it hasn't happened yet. And they ask her what's happening here, and she's like, oh, it's betrayal. The deepest and most unexpected.
Thank you very much for those nightmares.
And then Buffy's like, who did this to me? And she's like, I have to be outside. You're about to cause a disruption. And she disappears. And then Buffy turns to Willow and says, is it you?
So now what's really cool about this is we will actually see this scene later in the season. Spoiler alert, but we'll get there. At some point in the season, we will actually see what happens here. And this deepest and most unexpected betrayal. And is it Willow?
Not any more than she already has. And then we cut to this scene, because I'm sure you have questions. Well, I did too. And we jump to a sweet little apartment, undisclosed location. And it's Kennedy, and she wants to know why she's keeping her away from Buffy.
Isn't that what we've been asking? And isn't that what Buffy's been asking? And look at this image of Kennedy. She looks just like the actress Iadi Lamon, who plays Kennedy. It's a really good likeness of her.
She's really, really pretty.
She's super pretty. Why are you so pretty, Iadi Lamon? Leave some pretty for us.
Oh, you're gorgeous, and you know it.
Anyway, so we find out that Kennedy's like, dude, what's up? Like, why am I over here and your whole friend group and like Scooby situation is completely separate from me? Are you embarrassed of me is basically what she's asking.
So she's asking all the questions Buffy was asking, and Willow just comes right out and says it, that because what happened with Tara, she couldn't let her love of Buffy go. She wanted to bring her back, and when Warren shot that gun and it hit Buffy and Tara, Willow had to make a choice. And it cost Willow her life, and she didn't even think about trying to start a life with Tara and raise Dawn and be together, and that whole other scene. And
she could have
pot of what ifs.
Yeah, like if Willow had never brought Buffy back, like they could have had a completely different life, but she brought her back. And and she says, I chose to put Tara in a bullet's path, because it's like the whole idea is almost like Tara was the price to be paid to have Buffy here, and it's not necessarily about the resurrection. Like, Willow resurrected Buffy, and then, sure, like, after she did the resurrection spell, she was all magic all the time. She was like, I can do whatever I want. Like, look at me. I can bring people back from the dead. I'm super fucking cool. I can do magic. And then that cost her her relationship with Tara. But when she and Tara got back together, Willow had gone on the straight and narrow. She was, like, completely sober. And then Tara died. And then, like, that's what threw Willow off the deep end. And that's what made her go all back into the magic. And we know that after Willow, like, went all up into the magic, she went crazy and she, like, went off and saved Buffy. Mm-hmm. But if Tara hadn't died, do you think that Willow would have used magic to save Buffy? Or do you think she would have let Buffy die? Because that was, like, the human way of things.
And that's the big question.
And I'm saying, do you?
I think that it would have been something... in the long scheme of things, probably not. If she hadn't used her magic, she would have found a way to bring Buffy back, but magic would have obviously been the easiest route for Willow, because that's what she knows how to do.
Right, but what I'm saying is, I think if Tara were still alive and Buffy had still gotten shot, Willow would not have dived back into magic. And so because Tara was murdered, because she was murdered, that is what drove Willow back into magic, and it's that magic that she dove back into that allowed for her to rescue Buffy.
And she continued to save Buffy's life after she's put herself in harm's way.
Right, and so it's like, so she literally, like, Tara had to die for Buffy to literally be here today. Like, without Tara's death, Willow wouldn't have gone off the deep end and used magic again in order to save Buffy.
Yeah.
By way of our actions.
Yes, Meatwad, with action.
Action.
So she's not wrong. Like, this is really deep stuff, and it's something that I never really thought about when it came to Tara. The fact that Willow would feel so responsible for her death just because of putting Buffy back out in the world, and how Buffy's just being there is what basically killed Tara. If Buffy weren't in that backyard, Tara would have nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Like, that's the fact of the matter. Warren wasn't after Tara, he was after Buffy. And so for Willow to go around and literally feel like she murdered her lover is
a lot of self-hate.
It's so bad, man. It's
really
rough.
bad on you, and she is pushing Kennedy away from Buffy because she loves Buffy, but she does not want to put the woman she loves in harm's way ever again, because she knows what that feels like, and she's never going to put it on Buffy because Buffy was given this gift. Willow feels bad because she's put it on herself to help her.
Yeah, it's a beautiful way of putting it. It's like, it's not your fault, and it's not your fault. It's all my fault. And that's going to be a big theme.
I continue to choose to help you.
Yeah.
Willow could walk away from Buffy at any time.
She really could.
She chooses to stay there with her because she loves her.
Mm-hmm.
I screwed it up. Everything.
And that's why this issue's so hard, because it's like, girls, get it together.
You just gotta get it together. Get your shit together.
So the mist comes up again, and the demon's back, and he's pretty much saying, see, all you do is lie to one another, and the sooner you're dead, the sooner all this can be over.
Mm-hmm.
And Buffy's just watching him go into his monologue, and she decides that she's heard enough. Hail Mary.
So Buffy, like, does this gymnastics bullshit, and she, like, jumps off the wall, and she puts her hands in the air, and Cephalian's like, girl, what are you even talking about? And when she said Hail Mary, she was basically signaling Willow to create this, like, magical sword majigger.
Fire. Sort of flaming fire.
Oh, and the thing is, they're not supposed to use magic down there because of all of the weird interdimensional energies and how it will disrupt the field that they're in, and it's all weird. So them going around just, like, willy-nilly using this magic is the thing that Robin was talking about, the disruption being.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Anyway, she chops off his head, and the place is about to blow. They get out of there, of course.
Yeah.
They make it. And
So Robin like lets them out of the explosion while keeping the explosion intact at the same time, which is like a pretty like awesome display of power. Like if you can do something, like stopping catastrophe is a pretty nice thing to be able to do. So I like that.
This is better than pay-per-view.
they asked if she remembered being down in there, and she said if she astral projected. She doesn't have any recollection of what they're talking about, ergo she has no reminder of the red egg and Buffy sitting on the floor crying like a baby. And they said, well, Robin was like, what happened down there? And Buffy was like, it was a demon. And Willow said, playing games. And they start walking away from each other. And now it seems like there's kind of this tension. And this is the final panel of this episode.
Well, see, I feel like it's not so much tension. I feel like what we see here is that tension being released. This is the tension. This right here, where she's hanging on to her neck, that's the tension. They're so close, but they're not. They are literally anywhere but here, okay? Like, they are not together. They seem together, but we've seen all season long. They're dodgy about things. Like, one will ask the other something, and the other doesn't have an answer.
Well, these are the only things that they haven't been 100% like let's open up and talk about this, was her mysterious benefactors and Kennedy. And that's kind of where we are right now.
Yeah, and so, like, for me, like, this is the tension, and when we get to the end where they've kind of disbanded, like, they have broken that tension. The tension is broken, but that does come with a price. Like, they're going off in opposite directions because in truth, that's where they've been the whole time.
They just had to sit there and process all the information they just learned the other was hiding.
Yeah, and they have to, like, deal with the fact that, like, like when Xander asked Dawn if it felt good to get it all off of her chest, she looks away and she's sad because it doesn't feel good to get it off your chest. It hurts even more once you actually say it out loud, and once you actually acknowledge the truth. Like, that hurts. That hurt will get over later. You know, we'll get over that later, but at first, as soon as you say it, as soon as you make it real and put it out there, like, that feels like the heaviest thing.
Because it's out there and it is happening.
And everybody knows.
I know it's late.
And you feel that sort of, not necessarily guilt, but shame too, because why would your friend hide something from you?
Yeah, and it's almost like you feel guilty about feeling better for telling the truth.
Yeah, because you feel like a weight's been lifted, but it's like, oh no, it's out there now. There's no reason to hide it. There's just like this release of pressure.
So what do you think about all of this? What do you think about what's going on with Dawn and Nick?
I think that Nick definitely has something to do with her turning it into whatever. I also hate to see that the first boy she had sex with ended up turning into a giant. That's pretty sad.
Oh, I know. And it's so Buffy, too. Like, she could so relate.
No.
She even said it in issue number 1. She was like, you know, your first time with a guy goes bad. Like, I know all about that. Like,
that's exactly what happened with her.
I really like that Dawn feels like a giant slut, and so she is one.
Because she's giant.
Yeah.
And she just made a bad choice with one guy, and she's a slut. She was cheating on her man, though, that she didn't have sex with.
Yeah.
So.
That's so weird, too. Like, why are you dating this one dude that you're not having sex with, and you're going to have sex with this one dude, like, one-night stand type? Like, really, girl?
What are you doing?
Well, I guess.
And I mean, look, she's 18. I'll give it to her. She's 18 years old. You'll make mistakes. But at the same time,
you want.
Yeah, but it's like, why are you dating this dude that you're not going to sleep with if you're just going to sleep with his friend all willy-nilly? But, again, 19. Hey, remember when we were 19?
Yeah.
We'd rather not, but we do.
We're about to be 30.
So, what do you think about what's going on? What do you like that it's Xander that she opens up to?
Because I feel like she could relate to him, because also Xander was, think about who he lost his virginity to.
Faith.
That's what I'm saying. Like, your first time is never the best time, and it left him feeling some type of way.
She literally just threw him out the front door wrapped in a sheet.
Alright, I gotta take a shower. Bye. And he just was like,
he's like, and then when he sleeps with Anya, and she's like, I'm over you now. And then so she walks off, and he's like, somehow still more romantic than Faith.
Somehow.
Passions is coming on.
Oh, I agree. I do like that she's telling Xander this, mostly because it gives Xander something to fucking do, right? Like it gives.
He also had some sort of bond with Dawn, you know.
Oh
as she got
yeah,
older.
yeah. And the
Like the
Xander
bigger
Dawn
brother,
thing, they have a really strong and like good relationship.
Yeah.
Like remember in Potential when he was like, "I see you for exactly who you are. You're not special. You're extraordinary." And she was like, "Oh my god, girl, thank you." So like, they do have this relationship because they see each other because they are basically on the same level as far as like being just a person around all of these super people.
Yeah, and just kind of being a part of that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like they didn't choose it, but yet here they are. And I think it's really funny that Dawn went to college to try and be normal, and she ended up hooking up with a demon. You know, she's like, "I'm gonna go to school and be normal." Psych.
And now she's like
giant.
Now she's like, "I'm 18 and I'm in Scotland, but I'm a goddamn giant.
So I can't do shit. Which I think is pretty funny.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I like the Dawn stuff. I like that she feels like a giant slut, and I like that. I like that. I do like that it's Xander that she kind of comes out to. But let's twos. What do you think about the bank? How do you like really?
I think that it's something that's so not Buffy. She's all about doing the right thing. The only time she's ever done the wrong thing is when she felt that who she loved or what she needed was above another person's life.
I mean, that's the worst thing she done.
Yeah, but what I'm
Buffy's
saying
done
is,
some bad shit.
yeah, and here she is robbing a bank for millions of dollars.
See, it's on the one hand, think about it.
She's got like a couple hundred mouths to feed.
Think about it. You're like 23. You know everything.
I know everything.
You have a literal army of superpowered women.
Yeah, superhuman woman.
And you're like, well, I gotta make sure these bitches are eaten. And we
we're
have a safe place to stay.
And I'm gonna buy this empty castle in Scotland.
I need some helicopters and fancy electronic guns.
Well, yeah, because that's what I need to do.
Like, I could see somebody thinking that and getting themselves into that headspace. But you're right, it's not very Buffy. It's almost like, and she kind of like poo-poos it away by saying, "Oh, it's all insured, it's a victimless crime," like whatever,
They don't
whatever.
try and focus on it that this is the reason that the military started even looking into her. And I
Yeah.
feel like they should have taken it to a darker place. They went really big on the scene about her and Kennedy. They felt like that was way more of a betrayal. But Buffy was kind of very big-headed and thought that, you know, I mean, I'm saving all their lives, why not get back? And it's really not getting back. They're going to get it all back anyway. And she ended up screwing herself and the girls.
A girl could die.
Yeah.
And now everyone's on the run, and she was getting so upset about why everyone's looking for her, and she had that look of sadness and the determination, and she's like, why won't everyone just give me a break?
Well, this is why, Buffy, because you go
Yeah.
around and rob people.
Because cause and effect, my dear.
Oh my goodness.
And here we are, and she doesn't still feel like anything's wrong.
I don't apologize because I never make, mistakes.
So how about this sexy snake lady?
I don't know what her deal is.
Yeah, we won't talk about her for a good long while. But trust me, we will see more of the sexy snake lady. She is coming back. She's here to stay. Okay, so we talked about Xander and Dawn and all that good stuff. So we've got this whole foreshadowing thing, and I can't really talk to you about it without like giving it away, but do you have any predictions of what you think might be happening, or are you just like, what?
I think something cracked out of that egg and messed Buffy up.
Oh, good theory.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. Oh, what do you think about Buffy thinking that Willow might be the one to have betrayed her?
Because it's a betrayal most foul, and right now in Buffy's life, Willow is a person that she loves and respects most, but also has
Been keeping shit from her.
Yeah, the main reasons that she has something to worry about.
That bitch is loony.
And then the whole scene goes in with Kennedy, and I mean, we've already talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about this at length, but I really like this. I think it brings something to Willow that I just had never really considered before, and I mean, I did read this into like 11 years ago, and so like I have considered this in between, but up until this, I had never really considered where Willow kind of was in her headspace and her feelings about, what her relationship to Buffy means for the people around her and how it literally puts them in danger. Like, we think about Buffy, right, and how her relationships with her friends put them in danger, right? Mm-hmm. But we don't think about how people like Willow have their own lives outside of Buffy, and how Willow knowing Buffy puts the people that she loves in danger. And so it's not that Buffy is the center of the universe. Everybody is the center of their own universe. And, basically, if you're anywhere near Buffy, anybody could get hurt because of it. Mm-hmm. So I really like that.
Yes.
I really like this whole four faces idea. I think that's really like a great way to just illustrate the fact that, it's a demon who's talking about reality. Like, here it all is. Like, this is everything. Like, I'm showing you everything.
I'm up front.
Yeah.
And personal.
Like, I'm willing to show you things that the people who love you won't. But I'm scary.
Looking like an anglerfish.
Yeah. It really is super fucking scary.
So, is there anything else you want to talk about?
Well, there's Robin, and there's Robin who is based on an actual person. There was this contest in Slay the Critics that Dark Horse does at the end of the Buffy books. There's this contest, like, write in, give us your story, like, tell us why you should be a character in the Buffy books. And there was this one dude, he wrote in about his wife who was slowly getting further into her fight with schizophrenia, and so she would, like, not really be anchored in reality, she would
only have small moments of lucidity.
Yeah, she wouldn't have, like, a lot of lucidity, and he would watch Buffy with her to try and keep her mind, on a track, and they would watch Buffy together, and that seemed to, like, help her, or whatever. And so he wrote the story in, and they used her likeness and her name to be this Minder character. And that's why, like, Robin is like, outside of reality, and she has to constantly keep reality in check, because that would be what it's like to have schizophrenia.
Okay, that story makes a lot more sense now.
So that's all, like, super fucking neat. And I think I really love the writing in the story. Like, it's Joss Whedon, and we kind of just like, okay, like, yeah, Joss, we know that you write well and you're going to tell a good Buffy story. But I think the whole idea of calling it Anywhere But Here, of Willow and Buffy being literally anywhere but together, of Buffy and Kennedy being anywhere but in the same place together, of Willow and Buffy, going across.
Yeah.
They want to be anywhere but here with you. It's very on point throughout the whole thing. The idea of the truth, the idea of lies, the idea of making up a story to get away from reality, which is what this game is about. No, you're fine. But, like, they're literally playing this game so that they don't have to talk about what's really going on with them, right? They're talking about an absolute fantasy.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah.
You're a dreamer. You dream a lot in your sleep.
No, not really. I know.
Yes, you do.
No, I
yes,
don't.
you do.
Then what's really at the root of the problem?
Right. And so, like, the writing in this is very crisp, it's very clean, it's very, like, it all comes together, and it comes to a head, it comes to a climax and a resolution in one issue that's really good. And I don't like all of the art, but overall I do really like the art. It's just you can tell the pages where the artist really didn't want to spend too much time, because the ones that are good are really good. Like, there's some really gorgeous art. Like, that whole, like, the death of magic thing is really beautiful when he says that to Willow. Oh, it was way earlier. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Like, there's some really good art in here. And actually, I just went to New Orleans. Oh yeah, this one. Mm-hmm. I just went to New Orleans, and on the way there, we played Anywhere But Here.
Nice.
I was like, let's play a game. And so we'd be, like, riding down the road, and we'd been talking about whatever in between. I'd be like, oh, so Lindsay, where are you? And she's like, oh, I'm here.
How many times tell you something.
Yeah, it's a fun game. Yeah, anywhere but here. You should play it. It's super cute.
Adorable.
Oh, will you hand me that season 8 binder?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. The season 8 binder. It's so heavy, right? I mean, it's not the heaviest.
I think I just pulled a muscle.
But it's definitely hefty. Alright, so that was issue number 10. In issue number 11, we will be doing a beautiful sunset. You want to describe the cover and show it to everybody?
Oh my god. It's beautiful.
It's really pretty.
So here I see a blinding light, and it looks like someone is kicking the crap out of Buffy. She is down on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Is that one written by Joss too?
Yep.
Yep. It's another one written by Joss. So we're going to talk about A Beautiful Sunset next time. And after we talk about A Beautiful Sunset, Tuz is going to educate us on Twilight and the lore and what it all means. Because I'm telling you, Twilight's Twilight. It's a whole damn thing.
Stay tuned.
You are invited.
So yeah, I really love this issue. It actually made it onto my top 5 issues of season 8. Because I love it, and I love the cover. It's fucking gorgeous. I love that look on Buffy's face. She's like, oh, we're playing.
She looks a little out of her depth.
So, anyway, is there anything else you wanted to say about this issue?
I think we pretty much covered it all. It was a great issue, and I can't wait to see what's next after what happened between Buffy and Willow. And where they'll lead off.
I'm asking this question, but I already know the answer. Did you have a favorite part?
Yeah, I already told you. I told you yes too. You forgot.
The Reign of Fire Christian Bale and Little Women Christian Bale is really funny. It really is. It might be my favorite part too. It's my favorite funny bit. My favorite part is this with Willow and Tara. Or Willow and Kennedy rather.
Mm-hmm.
It just it gets me. It's like, oh girl, I got you. Oh, it's so good. But anyway, Planet Earth. I'm Preston L. Young.
And I'm Tuz.
And we hope you're having a great 2018 so far, everybody. You can come right back here to the Buffyngton Post anytime for more History Buff. Buffy the Vampire Slayer reviews, Buffyverse discussions on the other Slayers, and more. What's coming up? Oh, you need to watch Sabrina, and we can come back into a review for that.
Fun.
Sabrina. It's not great. Like, it's fine. It's good. It's good time. It's a good time.
Anyways.
Hush! You talk too much. Homegirl, you never shut up. Goddamn!
Planet Earth.
We'll talk about it later.
We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Whatever. Can I go?
It's called Hysteria, the world premiere. We dare ya to watch Hysteria. Prepare ya for hilaria. They love it in Bulgaria, Hysteria. We declare ya, be aware ya. The laughter's gonna marry ya, we swear ya. It's Hysteria. Get set for Hysteria.
But anyway, so, in Anywhere But Here... Hey!
What?
Hello, Editor Preston.
Hello. We love you. Another one bites the dust. Ooh, another one bites the dust. And another one does.
And another one's gone. Another one bites the dust. Hey,
Hey.
we're gonna get you too. Another one bites the dust.
Hey!
Okay.
There's Jojo Buffy in the back.
There she is. Oh, good. I'm glad she made it. Hey, Dear Buffy.